Well, hello there. This is News Channel Nebraska. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Temperatures in Nebraska will have us thinking of an early spring this week. That stands in stark contrast to Punxsutawney Phil's Groundhog Day forecast. Karen Kafa is in Gobbler's Knob, where Phil made his prediction this morning.
It wasn't the forecast that many here were hoping for, but maybe the one that they expected as folks started to gather here at Gobbler's Knob at 3 a.m. Monday morning. The temperatures were in the single digits, hovering close to zero with a wind chill below zero. Punxsutawney Phil says 6 more weeks of winter, despite many people hoping for that early spring.
It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
When I spoke with Marcy Galando, the executive director of Punxsutawney's Groundhog Club, over the weekend, she said last year they set a record here at Gobbler's Knob. She didn't expect that to happen this year just because of the cold temperatures, but still a pretty hardy crowd that came out in the early hours and looked like they had a pretty good time. In Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, I'm Karen Kafa.
Thankfully, Punxsutawney Phil's predictions not affected by the government shutdown. There is still a partial shutdown going on. Hours before Friday's deadline arrived, the Senate reached an agreement on a funding bill. However, that deal not official until the House votes on the matter, and it appears there are still some things to be worked on there. John Lawrence has more.
The U.S. starts a new week without Washington, D.C. running at full throttle.
The question mark over a government shutdown is certainly a big one and a political problem, really for both parties, but certainly for Republicans right now, as the polling is showing a great deal more pressure on them.
On Tuesday, the House is expected to vote on the funding package that passed through the Senate last week.
Because of the conversation I had with Hakeem Jeffries, I know that we've got to pass a rule and probably do this mostly on our own. I think that's very unfortunate.
The legislation backs most government agencies through much of the year, except the Department of Homeland Security, which will only get funded for 2 weeks while lawmakers work to reform DHS's immigration operations.
Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution in our view, before DHS agents or ICE agents are breaking into the homes of the American people or ripping people out of their cars.
This partial government shutdown is expected to last until at least Tuesday, while Washington, D.C. tries to come to some sort of agreement.
So I think it's all of our responsibilities to reopen the government.
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
John Lawrence, News Channel, Nebraska.
When the next severe weather event happens, don't get caught in the dark. Power your kitchen, HVAC, and communication systems with a Jackery solar-capable generator. Just click on our YouTube affiliate shopping tab and you're on your way.
The Farm Bill also pending in the federal government. For the time being, though, there's hope for other ways to increase income for farmers. Some members of Congress attempting to get the sale of E15 allowed in the U.S. year-round. It's still just a seasonal fuel for most of the country. Representative Mike Flood of Nebraska on a rural domestic energy council. He says he's pushing to get it done by next month. If the ethanol fuel can become available throughout the U.S. all year long, it would be a boon for Nebraska as one of the top corn-producing states.
That will put money in farmers' pockets because the demand for our corn-based ethanol will skyrocket, and it's something we've wanted for a long time, not relying on these waivers. And as you know, right now, that would be a huge boost to the farm economy. So I know a lot of farmers are paying attention. A lot of their bankers are paying attention. I'm hoping that we can get there.
Flood says E15 is a top priority, so much so it could end up being separate from the Farm Bill. Flood says Congress also pushing the White House to ensure that China lives up to its promise of buying American soybeans. Nebraska lawmakers, meanwhile, considering legislation that would look into the high number of reports of missing black women and children in the state. Legislative Bill 751 would authorize a study to improve the reporting and investigation of these cases. Black Nebraskans make up less than 6% of the population, yet cases of missing black women and children have numbered in the hundreds for years. Omaha Senator Ashley Spivey introduced the bill. She says there were 850 cases in 2024 alone, most of which are likely to go unresolved.
We don't know what happened to those women and children. Were they found? Were they harmed? Was it due to domestic violence, sex trafficking? Were they actually runaways? How do we categorize that?
Spivey says she was inspired by speaking to families who've personally been impacted by the issue.
When someone goes missing and you don't have the answers and you're wanting closure, you want to find them, that is traumatic for the family and the community.
Spivey says a landmark study back in 2019 looked into the high number of missing and murdered Indigenous women in the state, serving as an important policy breakthrough that helped lay the groundwork for her bill. The legislation is currently placed on general file. The Norfolk Police Department's multi-million-dollar renovations presenting some challenges currently for employees. And that's led leaders to seek solutions and find a new building to facilitate daily operations. Hanky Hazelton has more.
Since the start of the Norfolk Police Department's renovations, they have completed the south side parking lot over here for cruisers to get in and out easily, but as they continue, they will need to start remodeling the building here, which is creating obstacles for a 24/7 building, and especially those on the second floor.
It is really turning into the reality that the second floor is going to need to be vacated so that construction can occur without interrupting our daily work.
They have a deadline to be out March 17th, relocating them in the former Behavioral Health Services building at 9th and Norfolk. But that doesn't include a move for every employee.
We'll have to operate out of both to some degree, but dispatch and officers will remain here. What will be moving is administration, the city attorney's office, and our investigative bureau, meaning our detectives.
If renovations continue to go as planned for floors 1 and 2, the department hopes to move back in phases, but as you can see, they're also going to be adding an addition here, which is going to take some time. However, when it comes to the initial project being completed, Captain Bauer said it's supposed to be in July of 2027. In Norfolk, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
Most Americans have lost spending power in the past 5 years. That's not news to most people. Here's the interesting thing, though. Nationally, pay rose by 18% from 2020 to 2024. Inflation went up 21%. But where you live can significantly impact things. The website My Perfect Resume drilled down Bureau of Labor Statistics data to find 9 states where purchasing power actually grew. And no, Nebraska is not among them. Iowa actually saw the largest increase in purchasing power since 2020, up 3.1%. Nebraska ranked 28th. If you take pay raises and cost of living into account, our purchasing power has actually gone down 1.5%. The states that saw the worst declines, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Maryland. Some of the best gamers from the region gathered in northeast Nebraska over the weekend. Sarah McKenna has more.
Going on 6 years now, the Norfolk LAN Party is once again bringing gamers together to show it's not all about competition, but about connection. In the old Alco building on Norfolk Ave, over 100 players of all ages filled the glowing tables, coming by themselves, with friends, and even family. One player said the event is something his family looks forward to. With his kids by his side, the friendships and connections don't stop when the computer turns off.
So they meet new friends here in town, and then like they'll be sitting at home and then they'll be saying, well, I'm playing with this kid that we met at the LAN party. So it's cool for them to meet new kids from different schools and stuff like that too.
The organizers say that's exactly the impact they hope to have, bringing people out of the house to meet others, some they might have only known by their username. That's what happened with this younger player who has been playing online with someone he finally met in person on Friday.
I met this guy over here, Grady and Dave, and I met him online. I met him through our friends, but I met him in person just yesterday, so it's pretty cool to see him come out.
Even though the party is a tournament with high-end prizes to win, the friendships and connections people make come out on top. In Norfolk, Sarah McKenna, News Channel, Nebraska.
And finally, dozens turned out on a chilly night to raise awareness for those without shelter. More than 100 people trekked along an illuminated path at Antelope Park on Sunday for Matt Talbot Kitchen's annual Shine the Light Walk. The event meant to raise awareness for the challenges faced by those experiencing homelessness during the winter. The path was marked by luminaries which were lit up in honor of Matt Talbot guests who've passed away in the past year. The event also a fundraiser. The registration fees and donations will be used by Matt Talbot to continue to provide their services to those who need them. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com, click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.